Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tier 2 finale for Season 13. We are here in China, as we alluded to last week, and both championships may already be decided, but that doesn't mean we can't still have an excellent race today to mark the end of not an exciting season in terms of the championship, but a season with a lot of great races. So it's been a good season regardless. Hello to Alex in the chat, and hello as well to my co-commentator for this season. As always, it's two-time Tier 2 champion Lawrence. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you, Ghost. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad either. But yeah, it's good to be here. It's a track I enjoy. It's a track a lot of people don't enjoy. But we'll see how it goes for the drivers out there today. Let's get all of my telemetry up. There we go. And everyone heading out on their outlaps now. It looks like we've got Scott going to be the first driver on an outlap. And Lawrence, you got any predictions today for who's going to be up there on the podium?
I mean, you can't rule out X-Trek. He's been ever present at the front of the grid all season. Same for Robson. He might not qualify strongly, but in the race, he's just got that racing craft. He stays out of trouble. He's consistent. He's always at the sharp end. Also, well, there's a handful. You've got Enchiladad. We've got two newbies on the grid who are an unknown quantity to everybody. Sumo is overdue a podium. It could be anyone.
Exactly. I think the two newbies are also an unknown quantity to actual comedy. But anyway, down they head towards the last couple of corners to start their first laps. Bassem has overtaken Scott, and Scott is duly backing off to just let him go. I don't think he's interested in really doing anything with him. As they head off down towards turn one, I'm going to ride on board with Scott for a lap of China. Lawrence, take us through it.
So you want to go wide into? Oh, sorry. Let me start again. You want to head the left-hand side of the track, brake as late as you go, and then clip the curb on your right, and then you come round into the spoon turn 3. Turn 4 is you blink and you miss it. Turn 4, and then there's turn 5. This little kink here. Get as far left as possible. Brake as late as you can. You don't want to take that much curb. You're going to lose so much time doing that, and all of a sudden you let the track open itself up for turns 7 and 8. So quick left and right, and try and stay off the curbs as well, because they can be brutal and send you into a spin. Try and stick as far right as possible here. Just clip the apex of the corner there. Scott's just gone a bit wide there and lost a bit of speed. Come out, ride the curb on the right if you can, and then down into the third sector. Turn 11 and turn 12 and turn 13. You can round here. If you put the throttle down, you're going to generate so much wheel spin. And once again lose time, and now we're on to the longest straight on the circuit. Open your DRS, you try and keep it as straight as possible to minimise any time loss, and then you pick your braking point, which is roughly about the 100-metre mark. Goes in nicely here, beautifully taken, and then open up turns 14, 15, and the last turn 16. You want to try and clip. Oh no, he's abandoned.
Yeah, he had invalidated in the middle of sector 2, as Alex saw. He's absolutely right. If they go, if the track goes red in the bottom right, that is an invalid lap. Jacko and Tia coming across the line for their laps as well. As Triku comes across to go P2 as it stands. Who else? X-Trek on the intermediate tyres for some goodness knows what reason. I mean, he's the champion, whatever he wants to do. RJ goes to P2 in the meantime in his Red Bull. It's great to see him back on track. And Krauser comes across the line as well for his first lap. He goes P4, and this may be Krauser's last race in APP for quite some time. Lawrence, and we're going to invite him to the interview room after this race, regardless of what happens, whether he's on the podium or not, and just to give him a proper send-off, because what a career he has had in this league. If indeed this is the last time he races for a while, he's going to spend more time with his family, and we all wish him the very, very best. But yeah, I really hope he has an excellent race to send off today.
Yeah, and Krause has been ever present since I've joined APP, and I've been fortunate enough to sit in parties with him as well. All-round lovely guy. He's quite witty and funny as well, and just a pleasure to race with too. So yeah, let's hope he goes out with a bang today.
Absolutely, and there are plenty of other drivers on laps. Cavalis is in the gravel on his out lap. I'm not quite sure how he's managed that. He's also not moving. Cavalis, hello?
Ooh.
Cavalis, you okay, my friend? Cavalis? Oh, he's gone into neutral. There we go, and he's just getting out of the way of a Haas. I don't know.
He's alive.
Yeah, he's alive, just about. RJ isn't. He's just left the session, so hopefully he can get back in. But yeah, plenty of people on laps, including It's Blobster coming to the last couple corners now in his Alpine, in his first race here with us in Tier 2. Comes through the final corner and up towards the line. What's it going to be to start off his career? It's going to be P2, just behind his teammate. And they're both quite a long way ahead, Lawrence, at the moment.
Yes, they've got a nice, comfortable gap to Enchilada Dad. We can't really comment on X2X's performance at the moment. He's on Inters, as you said. He'll probably still win on Inters, in fairness. It's the way he's driven this season, you wouldn't put it past him. I did notice JB has got a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Antone.
Oh.
So whatever happens from now, even if Joe finishes pole, he's going to still find himself roughly where he is now.
Interesting. Well, Robs, who's coming round in the meantime in his Williams, he's coming to the back straight at the moment, and he heads all the way down towards the hairpin. Denko on a lap as well at the moment, and we'll see what he can do in his Aston Martin. I know he's got quite a few fans in the chat today. Welcome in, all of you. And hope you enjoy the broadcast today, and hope Denko has a good race as well. Robsu through the final corner and down to the line. It's going to be P11 for the Finnish driver. And by the way, Lawrence, Drogon, I don't know if you noticed, the exit of the final corner, he has binned it, and he will not be taking any further part in this quali session, unfortunately. He was right back on form, seemingly, last week in Australia until he lagged out in the race, and that was it. So that's it. That was a big shame for him, and it's a shame he hasn't been able to even set a lap today so far. Well, he won't ever even, as Denko goes to P4 onto the second row, and that'll please the fans in the chat, that's for sure. Cavalis in the Mercedes coming to the last couple corners, as Scott just behind him as well. Here comes Cavalis. Down towards the final corner in his Mercedes. He's got just enough ERS left, but he is going to run out the exit the final corner. There we go, out of VRS. So he's going to be derating all the way to the line. It's P13 for now. Scott goes to P4, though, dethrones Denko from the second row. But it's looking close out there between everyone except the Alpines, who we'll ignore for now.
Yeah, the Alpines got a good buffer to everybody else at the moment. Denko, as you rightly said, a terrific to start his qualifying with. He'll have another go to hopefully shave a few more tenths off that time. I believe there's no such thing as a perfect lap. You can always improve, no matter how good it feels.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, unless you're talking Lewis Hamilton in Singapore in 2018, but I think that's pretty much the only one out there.
No, I will agree with that. I mean, that was monstrous.
But Tier coming into Sector 2 at the moment, he's 2.5 tenths up in his Sauber as he looks to get himself into the top 10. It's a much better lap from the Alpine. I'm just going to ignore the Alpines for various reasons. But Ace is in the middle sector as well. He's improving. What about Sumo? Alex desperate for us to follow him on camera in the chat. But here he comes through Sector 2 at the moment. Ace is coming through as well, 2.5 tenths up in the middle sector. So obviously it was Sector 3 where he made his mistake previously because he's 6 seconds down. So we'll see if he can improve on that. Tier's just behind him as well. Enchilada's on an outlap, so it is going to be Ace's next to set a lap, unless it'll be the other V-carb of Jackalacco first, actually. He's coming through, but I'm not sure. Is he on a lap? Yes, he is. He's coming through the final corner. No, he's not. He's into the pits. Never mind. Aces,
Watch
though.
out for Sumo.
Watch out for Sumo, indeed. He's coming through. Here comes Aces to the line, and it's a 31.7 to put himself into P3. Tier goes to P3 just ahead of him, though, and here comes Sumo across the line. It's only 5th place for him, and he will be happy with that initial lap time, but 7 minutes to go. He's got time to improve, as does everyone else out there. Anton coming through into the final sector as well in his Red Bull. Who else have we got? We've got one of the Alpines coming through, but I think they've slowed down. So let's focus on JB and the Ferrari, who Sumo predicted on pole. That's not looking very good at the moment, is it, Sumo? But JB through to the last couple corners he goes. What's it going to be? He's currently P11. He wants to get in the top 10. His qualifying form hasn't been up to par in these last couple rounds, but that is a lot better. P4 for JB. He'll be happy with that as Anton comes through. He's invalidated, but he was 8.5 tenths up, so that was a strong lap from Anton if he had kept it within track limits. RJ in the Red Bull on a lap as well. Enchilada coming to the final corner. What can he do? The man who was on pole position last week, can he do it again here? It's only P7. He did say he's not a fan of China. So it's, you know, at the moment it's showing on his lap time, but we'll see if he can improve. There's still 5.5 minutes left to go. Is anyone else on a lap? Lawrence Tier coming to the line? No, he's into the pits, so I think everything else is fine. RJ, though, he's coming through. I think he'll be the next to set a lap, Lawrence.
Yes, I'm just quickly trying to find RJ on blind. Here we go. Yes, RJ looks like he's about to come around the last corner to set a lap time. He was looking like he's going to go from P11 up to P8. So nice solid time. And this grid is ever so tight.
Indeed it is. Very solid from RJ, that. As Krauser comes through in his Ferrari. I think he just set a time, so he's on an in-lap right now. Anton has invalidated, so nothing from him. Enchilada's coming into the pits on this lap. It's Blobster on a lap in the Alpine, but he's in Sector 2 at the moment. He's currently P2 by just 900th of a second from Tier, but it's mighty, mighty close throughout the whole grid, obviously ignoring P1. But Blobster is not, he's backed off on that particular attempt, so nothing from him on this occasion. What about Aces? He's improving in Sector 2, 1.5 tenths up, so we'll see what he can do in the final sector as well. 1.5 tenths would get him up another position, maybe another 2 positions. He could get into the top 3 if he nails this final sector as well.
Yeah, I was just riding on board with Aces just before you joined in. He had a little bit of a moment in turn 11. I think he's going to back out of this lap. I think those 2 mistakes just a bit too costly.
Yeah. Well called, Lawrence. Into the pits comes Aces, and he's got 4 minutes to try and go again. He knows he's got pace. He was improving in that middle sector, so we'll see what he can do. Who else is on a lap? I can barely see the track because of all the chat messages popping up on my screen.
Alex, go get some rest.
Krauser into the pits. Scott on a lap though in his Haas. He was just improving by half a tenth in sector one. What can you do in the middle sector? We've also got Denko
Denko,
coming
huge
through.
improvement.
Indeed, through the last couple corners, and well, he was very high up just a few moments ago, but he's since dropped quite a long way. Let's see what he can do. Out the last corner, he goes to P8. It's better from Denko. As Scott also coming through, but he is switched to none on his ERS, so no improvement for him either. X-Trek on a lap as he comes into Sector 2. What's the improvement going to be? 2.5 seconds on the soft tyres, obviously. He did his previous lap on the Inters, remember, so... Obviously, there's going to be quite an improvement, but here comes Scott to the final corner in the Haas. What can he do? He's gonna start another lap. That's what he can do. Robsu, though, Cavalis as well coming to the line. It's a slight improvement, but he's still a little way off. Robsu to the last corner, though. Big improvement in Sector 2. Can he get himself into the top 10? No, it's only 12th for the man in second place in the championship as he looks to defend that position. But here comes X-Trek now, down to the final corner and to the line. It's not quite pole position, but it's not far off, a tenth away. And X-Trek, yeah, he's definitely going to be hit with the no-line ultimatum for next season because he said he's not doing it today, which is within his right. He wasn't forced to last week. He did it of his own accord, but next season it's definitely going to be what happens. But Tier coming through. But he's on an improvement as well. Plenty of other drivers on out laps as they look to start their final runs.
Yep, it looks like the whole grid bar Krauser are out on the track at the moment, so it's going to be traffic paradise, as Yuki Tsunoda would call it. So it's all about just being alert of what's going on around you. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars on a lap at the moment. But taking X-Trek out of that, he'll be coming into the pits. I think that's him done for today. Tier's on a lap. I'm not too sure if this is going to be an improvement. I can't see the timing at the moment.
Well, he was improving in the middle sector, not by much, as Scott, I believe, goes up to P5 in his Haas. What can Tier do in the Sauber? He goes to P3. It's a good improvement from Tier. He does like this track. He tends to run quite well here in the past. So, yeah, keep an eye on that British driver in the Sauber. We've got a few drivers coming through to start their final runs in the meantime, but Robsu coming into the pits, I think, unless he's going to go again on the same tyres. I think that is what he will do. It is indeed. Round the final corner he comes to start his last attempt. But we've got Antone in the middle sector as well, in the Red Bull. Plenty of drivers on laps now. Lawrence, keep an eye on someone that I'm not keeping an eye on, just so we've got a little more coverage. Maybe you can keep an eye on Sumo, since Alex is demanding it so much.
Yes, I'll keep a good eye on our good friend Sumo. I think Triku is going to be the first of the glut of cars going over the line to set a lap. I'll try and keep an eye on who is going to be next over the line.
Indeed. Well, here we go. Triku, final corner. Oh, he's very wide at the final corner, trying to get the best exit he could, and he lost all that time as a result, and he stays in P12. I don't know who's going to be next because the chat messages are covering the track map in the bottom right of my screen, but it looks like it's going to be a Red Bull, and it's going to be Antone, the Brazilian driver, to the final corner. It's a big improvement from It's Blobster, by the way, but it's not enough to improve position. Antone improves by 8 tenths and gets himself up to P12. He'll be happy with that. There's a Sauber next up. It's going to be Tier, but I think he's into the pits. He is indeed. So what can Aces do out the final corner? Uses all the ERS he's got left. Oh, it's P4. Very nicely done from Aces. And Scott's just behind him. Enchilada Dad through the final corner. Can he improve from P9? It would be disappointed if he stayed there. It's P6. It's still not what we expect from him usually, but it's an improvement at least. JB goes to P5, very close run thing there. What about Krauser and Jackalaka? I think Sumo, did he improve, Lawrence?
No, he didn't, no. I was on board with Sumo and he just stayed. I think it was P8 at the time, no improvement.
Oh, well, Krauser now to the last couple of corners in his Ferrari, and he's going to be the last one to set a lap fittingly in what is going to be his last qualifying session in Tier 2 for some time. He comes through to the line. Can he improve? I don't think so. No, he's a second and a half off, and he stays P16. But a thrilling qualifying session. Well, it sets us up for a very, very strong race.
Yeah, once again, the grid is tightly packed up. There's a handful of cars in 1 minute 31s, which is promising to see. It looks like the top 13 are all within a second, so that's once again, it's promising for the race ahead. I'll let you run through the order.
You run through the order, Lawrence. I've got a black screen.
Okay, that's right. And so pole is Bassam in the Alpine. Second place we have Exterek. Third we have Blobster and Sister Alpine. Fourth is Aces. Fifth Joe. Sixth Tia. Seventh Enchilada Dad. Eighth is Scott. Ninth is the Sumo Gilligan. 10th is Denko. 11th is RJ. And my screen's gone blank as well.
You got through most of it. That's the key. Yeah, my game keeps doing this lately. It keeps giving me a black screen for the quali results, but
yeah, it did it to me the other week when you asked me to run through the results, and I was just looking at a black screen.
Oh right, yeah, fair enough. But yes, it's very cloudy in the sky, I noticed, so I do wonder if we're going to get some drops of rain in this race. It is dry for now by the looks of things, so we'll see what the drivers select for their tyres, but there's no formation lap, so we'll be straight into the racing, and, the two Alpines going to have... going to be right up there in this race. Extract, of course, as always. But Tia, Scott, the likes of them, they were very close to that top three as well. So we're in for a great little race here for our season finale. And I'm very much looking forward to it, Lawrence.
Yeah, me too. I think Extract is going to come along and remind these Alpines, this is my league. I'm the boss around here.
Oh, here we go. We're about to find out if that is the case. 5 red lights. And we're underway here in China as Bassam gets a great start from pole position. There's some driver swapping positions further back, but it's the Alpine who leads. It's Blobster tries to go around the outside of Extract Fu turns 1 and 2. He's going to have the inside for 3. Ace is sticking his nose in as well as he tries to sweep around the outside, but he could not do that. And the two Saubers looking to get their noses in as well, but Enchilada now under pressure from Scott as a result on the run to turn 5. It's Bassam who leads, and Enchilada on the inside of Scott, who tries to sweep all the way around the outside of turn 5, but he can't quite do it. He is going to have the inside for turn 6. Is he going to send it? Yes, he is. Good move from Scott. If he can keep this up, it'll be the inside for Ench for the next corner, and surely Scott has to back out here. Oh, it's very, very close, but he finally yields, and Ench holds on to that P6. Very, very close out there at the start of this one. We've got Denko dropping positions in his Aston Martin. He gets one back on Antone, but it's been a disastrous start for him. He's still got his front wing intact, but Aces is round. Aces, after a brilliant start, he's all the way down to 13th, and he's not going to be happy with that after such a torrid season that he's had. Let's have a lot of position changes up and down the grid as we look back to the front, because Extract under pressure from It's Blobster for P2. Jackalacco down the inside of JB. We've got a Sauber ghosted up ahead. JB on the inside for the final corner, but it's Jacko who gets ahead, and he's up 7 positions from the start, as is Krauser. What a start for both of those drivers. Krauser in his last race for a while in the league, so that is exactly the start that he wanted and deserved. Sumo up 2 as well as JB, Enchilada, and RJ up 1, Robsu up 4. Good start for him, and Cavalis up 2, but but the biggest losers, Aces and Denko. I'm not sure what exactly happened to them, but the whole grid's still very close together as Drogon gets his way past Triku, who has spun it in the exit of turn 3 there. Krauser looking to make up another position. Up to P9 he goes in the Ferrari, or is it RJ actually on the offensive as he sends it down the inside of the next corner, and RJ gets up into 9th place and chases after JB. But it's still Bassem who leads from Extrek, and it's Blobster and Enchilada and Tyr. Let's have a look at tyres now on the screen. It's about a 50-50 split, really. I think most drivers on mediums, but quite a few opting for the hards. In particular, the top 3 are the ones to watch on the hard tyres, as Bassam gets a 1.2 second lead now, and it's Blobster challenging Extrek down towards the last couple of corners.
Yep, the hard runners in first, second and third will be the most happy cars out there at the moment. They'll have a good second stint lined up at the moment, but it's very early days to be thinking about that. Yeah, so far from what we've seen, it's been good, hard, fair racing.
It has so far, and Tyr on the move in P5 at the moment as Blobster tries to challenge Extrek for second place, but there's no way through there at the moment as they head through turns 1 and 2, and everyone in single file. A little gap developing between RJ and Krauser already, as well as Denko and Antone, who've both had poor starts to this race, but there's plenty of opportunity for them to get back in it, and I'm sure a safety car around here at some point is probably fairly likely. We already saw Drogon bin it at the final corner in qualifying, and I wouldn't surprise me to see someone do that in the race as well, as Scott makes moves on the inside of Robsu, and I think possibly a mistake from the Williams driver, because Scott was well ahead before the corner, and now Robsu's going to be under pressure from the stricken V-carb of Aces versus Kings, but he can't send it to the inside quite yet. He loses the rear as well on the exit of the corner, and Ace is struggling for traction in these early stages.
Yeah, Ace is it's pretty much finishing this season as he finished last, in a bit of disappointment at the moment. He's got a bit of more of a break this time to just straighten things up over the winter period, and hopefully he comes back even stronger. Almost into the back of Robsy there, just breaking very late. It's watching out on this little battle here between Enchilada Dad, Blobster. Yeah, very.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say, Lawrence. He didn't leave him a lot of room there, but he left him just enough. And Blobster keeps that position for now, but Tyr's under pressure from Sumo Gilligan. He goes around the outside for turn 3, but he has to yield in the end and stay behind. But Sumo looking racy in these early laps. Jackalacko up there as well after his phenomenal start to this race. Sumo again looks to the inside, but Tyr defends this time. And the Saubers still run in P4 and 5. We've got plenty of battling still to come, though. JB just behind Jackalacko as well. RJ sitting around as well in his Red Bull, and Krauser's caught back up thanks to all of this battling. And we have an 11-car train for P1 right now. Ace is a long way behind Scott, although catching up a little bit through those corners. But yeah, Ace is really struggling after a fantastic qualifying he had. It's not gone well for him so far this race. He's just, these particular 2 corners, he seems to be really struggling.
Yeah, his damage limitation now. Hopefully this early few stages doesn't define the rest of his race. Hopefully he can claw himself back into it. There's a long way to go, 28 laps around China.
No DRS for Extrek on that lap, and he gets punished for it as Blobster gets through at the hairpin. Extrek going to the inside of the last corner, trying to force Blobster onto a poor line, but I think he just ended up forcing himself onto a poor line as they head down towards turn 1. There's going to be no way through for the Mercedes driver, and Bassam's got a lot of ERS left. Blobster hits the curb a little bit and gets a little squirrely, but he's just about survived, and Extrek just sticking with them for now, but all three on the hard tyres, a long way clear of everyone else, as RJ getting past Krauser for P9 in the meantime. But Krauser challenging for that position, actually, as RJ is having to defend after clearly it must have been a mistake. He's 1.7 behind JB now, as Krauser has a little bit of a rear moment on the exit there of turn 5, but keeps it under control, and Scott's just following along. Aces is starting to reel them in. He's nearly within DRS range again.
Yeah, Aces needs a good few corners here just to close up the DRS. It looks like he's just on the hinge of it.
Oh, RJ's round. RJ... Yeah, he's had a mistake there. I don't think there was contact, but RJ down to P15 as a result of that spin. And yeah, the Shanghai International Circuit proving to be difficult for traction today for our Tier 2 drivers, as the top three continue in that order. Xtrek still following along with the DRS, but Lobster going on the inside of his teammate as they head towards the last corner. Sumo and Tier also battling it out. A little bit of wheel banging as they head towards the final corner, but Sumo around the outside of the final corner. What a move from the McLaren driver. He's up to P5, but he's going to be under pressure down to turn 1, is he? No, he manages to hold them off, and Jacko follows him through as well. What a move from Jacko as well in the V-Carb. We've got to cut to the top three because the two Alpines side by side again. Xtrek going to be watching and waiting for something to go wrong. Oh, on those hard tyres, loses the traction, and here comes his old rival Enchiladadad in the meantime just behind, heading to turn 5. Ench looks to send it on the inside but backs out just before the opportunity comes, and Sumo trying to get himself back into DRS range before he gets too vulnerable to the cars behind. Aces making a move on Robsu as well in the background for P11, and he has made that stick. Robsu having a torrid time out there. He could lose P2 in the championship and the final race here to Enchiladadad if he can't improve his position and fast here. But they carry on for now. Drogon into the grass. Oh, and Cavalis hits the side of him. I think Cavalis will argue that was a very unsafe rejoin from Drogon, and Cavalis with the wing damage. And unfortunately, our two drivers who started this season as newbies, and they've had storied careers over the course of this season, especially Cavalis, who's won the Constructors' Championship on his debut season, but they are now in the bottom two places as Blobster takes the lead from his teammate into the hairpin, Lawrence.
Yeah, sorry, I just see that Drogon had a spin at the back of the grid there. Blobster is taking the lead. Sumo has made that move count, and he's got DRS again, and he is in the hunt for the race win here.
Indeed he is. He's back in the train, and as these top four keep battling, Xtrek tries to take advantage on the inside of Blobster for turn 2. He can't quite do it. The two Alpines swapped again on the run to turn 1, but Xtrek putting the other one under all sorts of pressure. Sorry, what did you say, Lawrence?
Sorry, that's front wing damage for Blobster. His front left end plate is missing.
Dear oh dear, he's going to be really struggling into these next few corners then, and Xtrek needs to get past this Alpine sharpish if he doesn't want to lose too much time to Bassam. Through the next few corners they go through sector 2, and look how slow that Alpine is in comparison to the Mercedes, and Xtrek needs to make this move quickly now. He should get DRS on the straight, but the question is if Blobster gets it as well. I think the front wing damage was just caused by contact with his own teammate, so not great teamwork from the two newcomers today, as Aces getting past Robsu for the second time after they swapped positions again earlier on, and he's back up to P11. He should have the DRS now to Krauser, and should in theory be able to keep that place, but Robsu could put the pressure on, as could Anton in the Red Bull. He looks to the inside of the Williams, but has to back out in the end, and here comes Robsu. Look at that straight line speed from the Finnish driver. We saw him with insane straight line speed in Baku, and today might be the same story. He comes through, does Robsu around the outside of the final corner. Can he do it? Aces on the inside, barges him off the road, but I think it's just hard racing. I don't think Robsu will have too much of a problem with that. It's going to be 3 wide down to turn 1. It's Robsu on the inside of it, and he backs out sensibly so. He gets a bit squirrely on the curb, and it's Anton who gets both of them.
Yeah, Antone probably least likely to get game positions there is sitting ahead of Aces and Robsu at the moment. Robsu is a huge fan of low wings. No matter where he goes, he always seems to have a rocket ship.
Yeah, we saw him struggling a lot in the corners there, and I think that might be also due to his low wings as Jacko makes his way back past Tier after Tier overtook him earlier on. JB lurking in the background as well. Scott 2.5 seconds back. He's in a bit of a race of his own at the moment as he extends the gap to Crowd. JB in front as Jack Alacco now 1.5 behind the top 5, who are pulling away continually as it stands. But we are only on lap 8 of 28. Still a long way to go here, and it's going to be Sumo on the offensive. He's using all of his ERS. X-Trek just ahead as well as getting closer to the Alpines. Here comes Sumo on the outside of the Salbo. He's braked too late, and Sumo just narrowly avoids taking X-Trek clean out of the race. But he rejoins just ahead of Jack Alacco, who had to slow down, and he has to slow down again to the final corner. And Sumo, once again, just a little bit of bottle I sense from Sumo there, just braking a little too late, getting himself on the grass and almost taking out a couple of drivers. But Jack Alacco is going to be frustrated to still be behind him, and through turn 2 a little bit of contact. Jacko trying to find a gap, but there was just nothing there for him, and Sumo now under a lot of pressure.
From what we've seen in the early stages here, I think Sumo's got the pace to try and claw back the gap. He was faster in sector 2 earlier on. He comfortably caught the DRS back up when he went around the outside of Tier. Yeah, it's a long way to go. It's looking like it's going to be a top 4 battle for the time being.
It is indeed, and Sumo now is going to be looking behind him as look at the front though, they're all over the road, Blobster and X-Trek trying to psych each other out there on the run to the left-hander, but neither of them making an overtake as it stands. Enchiladas just waiting, sitting in the background and waiting for it all to happen. He's on the medium tyres at the moment, but he will get a wicked undercut to the hards later on. It doesn't seem like the hards are too much slower than the mediums in this early stage, although we know that X-Trek and the Alpines have a lot of pace. X-Trek to the outside of Blobster. Blobster leaves him the room on the exit, but still has that wing damage on the Alpine, and X-Trek tries to take full advantage. He's down the inside of the final corner. Blobster runs wide to try and keep the position. They're still side by side on the run to turn 1. Enchilada will be loving watching this. Sumo takes Alex's advice as comes into the pit lane for an undercut on everyone else, and he's going to go onto the hards to the end, I imagine, but X-Trek is ahead of that Alpine now and up to second place, and Enchilada Dad will be trying to follow him as well. Yep, Sumo indeed onto the hard tyres, and he'll be trying to go to the end with a nice undercut tear around the outside of Jacko, and JB trying to follow him. Jacko, can he send it to the inside of turn 5? No, he watches and waits for now, and I would think probably a mistake from the Scottish driver allowed that to happen.
Yeah, as you said, JB just following Tier and Jack Alacco here. Come on, JB, let's see a bit of ruthlessness. So get, sharpen your teeth. Show everyone that you're not a force to be messed with. Let's see a bit more aggressiveness from you.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. JB, I mean, now's the perfect time to practice being a bit more aggressive, but with both championships decided. Of course, you don't want to get penalty points, of course, if you go a bit too far, but it's as good a time as any to get a competitive practice at being aggressive in, and JB, at the moment sitting in P7, tends to be quite a conservative driver, but if he wants to fight for championships, he's going to have to find an aggressive streak as there's a change at for the front again.
Sumo's just taken out Cavalis.
Oh, Sumo's taking Cavalis out the race, says Lawrence. I didn't catch it on the stream, but Enchilada into the pits. It's an early stop for the Irishman as he heads into the hard tyres to the end of this race, trying to get a nice undercut on the top 3, but he's going to be in the same situation, or similar to Sumo. He's going to be catching up to other drivers who haven't stopped yet. JB, Scott and Krauser all join him in the pit lane, and everyone else staying out for now. So all of that top 9 still yet to pit.
Yeah, the next few laps we're going to see the race just unfold. I can imagine the hard tyres will probably stay out for another 6 or 7 laps, and probably trying to just do 11 laps or so on the mediums. Yeah, I'm not sure what the medium tyre wear like is around here. It's usually not too kind, this track on tyre wear, so the longer you make the mediums last, the better your hards will be.
Indeed, indeed. The top 9 on those 10-lap-old tyres, and I believe the mediums do drop off fairly early on this track. So it's certainly going to be an interesting situation whether the undercut can work on those hard tyres. But the mediums are going to be so fast in the second stint for that top 3 at the moment. Tier 2.3 behind them, and they're all battling it out as Exterek takes the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix for the first time today, as Bassem tries to get him back on the exit of the hairpin but can't quite do it as they head down towards the final corner. No change for the lead, but Bassem's going to have the DRS down to turn 1 and surely retake the race lead that he started with. But Extrek's battling him to the inside of turn 1. Extrek's still there as they head into turn 2, and they're still side by side, these two. Great racing between them. Oh, and it's a bit of contact as well as they head for turn 3, but no harm done, I don't think. And Extrek survives the onslaught for now as Jacko and Robsu, the next couple of drivers to head into the pit lane. That leaves 7 left who haven't stopped yet, and Enchiladadad reeling in RJ is 2.1 ahead of Triku now, who hasn't stopped yet either, and well, he's 3 seconds ahead of JB, and I'm sure it was less than that when they pitted, so Ench has had a great outlap here.
Yeah, Enchiladadad is making it count now, and he is going to probably be probably P1 by the time all these pit stops have unfolded. Just watching Extrek and Bassem at the front here. Extrek just managing his ERS, I think I noticed, but Bassem has managed to save his ERS here, so I'll imagine it's going to be quite a simple move for the race leader.
Indeed, and RJ gets a 3-second penalty for track limits. That's going to be a dampener on his race for now, but he is already quite a long way behind. We've got the top 2 again very close together. Bassem nearly making a move on Extrek, but just keeps it together for now, stays behind the Mercedes as they all stay out once again, as that's JB getting ahead of Triku, who is really struggling on those 11-lap-old hard tyres. Sumo trying to find his way through as well. Aces, I think, in the background too, trying to get his way through, and Triku loses 3 places in one straight. It's 3 wide into the hairpin. Aces on the inside. Sumo forces JB a little bit off the track, and Aces gets both of them on the inside. What a move from Aces versus Kings. He's up 3 positions in one corner. He is going to be under pressure from Sumo heading to turn 1 though. He's got no ERS left in the tank, and there goes Sumo. Easily gets put through, and Aces loses 2 of the positions that he just gained, but he is at least ahead of Triku. He's looking to the inside of JB now. Oh, that was nearly contact there between the 2 at turn 2 and turn 3. They just about survive as well, but Triku in a world of trouble here. He's now under pressure from Jackalako as well. And, well, after last week, if there's one driver you don't want behind you, it's Jackalako, and he sends it to the inside. Triku duly leaves in the room there. He didn't have to, but he was just looking to be in his own race there. I don't think he wanted to cause any sort of incident, so Jacko is cleanly through up to P12. And Sumo just ahead of JB, but he's going to be under so much pressure on the run to the hairpin this lap. Enchilada 4.5 seconds in front of them. He has really stretched his legs on these hard tyres, as that's Drogon losing positions in the Haas. Meanwhile, I think he just pulled out the way of Robsu and Krauser there. Robsu having a stinker of a race at the moment, and he, as it stands, I believe, if we take the net positions into account, Robsu would lose second place in the championship to Enchiladadad.
He would do, I believe so. I'm just watching Joe go around the outside of Sumo Gilligan. He has completed the move, and Sumo's just lost the place to Aces as well. Sumo, I believe in the podcast, saying he loves to move around the outside, and Joe is just taking him to school on that one.
Yes, indeed. As they head to turn one, though, Sumo trying to get back at him around the outside, just as you said. He loves a move around the outside, but he doesn't love it that time. He's into the grass, and he's lost a ton of time there. As long as he stays in DRS, he'll be fine, but it's going to be very, very close, and he's now going to be back under pressure from the likes of Tier and Scott, but they still need to get past the Aston Martin of Triku, who is still yet to stop in this race. Krauser and Robsu battling it out for P14 in the meantime. In the Ferrari and Williams. Robsu on the outside of turn 5. This is a great little battle between these two. Triku loses those couple positions we were talking about earlier. I'm not quite sure what's happened in the with the yellow flags. Oh, it's Triku round, in fact, so struggling on those tyres even more. Perhaps maybe there was contact as well. I'm not sure, but it's been a horrible race for Triku and Cavalis, sadly, to mark off the ends of their seasons. But there's still time yet. There still could be a safety car. We're only at the halfway mark.
Yeah, halfway through the race. I'm just quickly looking at the drivers' standings. I believe Joe and Sumo have a few comments towards each other. Who's going to finish higher? Yeah, I'd imagine Joe will be saying at least I'll finish ahead of Sumo, potentially at the moment by the end of this race. It looks like he's got a 2-point advantage over Sumo Gilligan, and that will be in their minds. I know there's been a little bit of banter between them about it, and Sumo will be pushing to make sure he tries to finish ahead of Joe.
And that is Blobster into the pits, replacing his front wing as well. But look at this. He is going to go all the way down to 12th place. And he is going to have an amazing fight back on those mediums. This undercut might have worked wonders. Look at Enchilada Dad. He's 4.7 ahead of JB. Let's have a quick look at gap to leader. He's 18.5 behind Bassem. So he would take the lead when Bassem pits. Aces loses, I think, 3 positions there. I'm not quite sure what happened there. But he's down to P10 now as well. Bassem and Extract here in a lot of trouble. They're going to need to have a mighty stint on the mediums, and if they're not careful, if they don't pit soon, they could be behind the entire pack that's headed at the moment by Jack Alaco, just like Blobster was. Blobster had to replace his wing, but it was very close. But it wasn't really close, actually, is what I meant to say. Between him and the DRS train, he was well behind when he exited. So this is going to be mighty close. They could come out. I think they're going to come out right in the middle of the pack, which is going to be very awkward. They both stay out for now, and the undercut works even better the longer they go. Anton and Denko also at the moment on the hard tyres. Are either of them going to come in? Anton comes in, but Denko stays out, and Enchilada 4.5 behind. He'll be hoping that Denko comes in on the next few laps, because otherwise he could lose some time behind that Aston Martin.
I'm just riding on board with Blobster. He's making good time on the pack ahead, but his tyres are going to be screaming by the end of this race. He's got to take them 13 laps, I think it is, to the checkered flag. So yeah, I'd imagine once we get to the other side of lap 23, 24, he's going to start feeling the effects of those warm mediums.
Indeed he is, and this long train for P6 continues. Jack Alaco just holding off Sumo for now. JB's built up quite a handy little gap to them, 1.8 seconds now the Ferrari has, and he's actually closing in Enchilada slowly but surely. They're both very similar pace, but JB running very well at the moment on this circuit. He was a little bit wide there as we were riding on board with him, but it shouldn't cost him too much. And, well, Enchilada might have to start looking behind him a little bit in the next sort of 10 laps or so if JB keeps reeling him in. But meanwhile, the top two continue to go as Drogon is out of the race. Is that going to be a safety car? It's a VSC. It's a VSC. It's perfect for Bassem and Extrek. Absolutely ideal. And Extrek gets him in the pit lane. Oh dear, oh dear. Bassem trying to get him back. They're both doing a Vettel on each other, and Bassem gets it perfectly right. Brilliant stuff from both of them. Absolutely love that. Denko comes in as well. It's good news for the Aston Martin driver. He'll still lose a ton of positions, but it won't be as many. Here comes Enchilada down towards turn one. He will be leading the race, but it's not going to be by much. Bassem Bassam and Extrek, they would have come out right in the middle of the pack, but they've come out in front of it thanks to the VSC. And, well, I was talking about a champion's luck for Red Flame Joe in Elite Austria a couple of weeks ago. In the elite division, but that is a champion's luck for Extrek as well. Goodness me, 3 seconds is the gap to Ench, and they should close that down extremely quickly. JB is going to try and keep on board with them and try and put some pressure on, but he's gonna have a lot of work to do as Blobster gets himself a track limits penalty in the meantime, although he is already up to P8.
Yeah, that track limits penalty could be ever so costly around here. DRS trains are very effective around here. We'll see. I'm watching JB to see if he can just hang on to the back of the X-Track for the time being. It will be a good pace car to go up against, but as we think, these two cars on the medium tyres are just going to absolutely blitz the field now.
Indeed, here comes Blobster on Aces versus Kings. He should be able to try and send one into the hairpin if he's feeling brave enough, because he'll have the better grip to do it. But Aces is using some battery of his own to try and keep up with Tier and Sumo, who are now swapping positions. And Blobster's too far back here. He's going to have to wait for a better opportunity. He comes through the hairpin. He's got the better grip, though, and he's on the outside of Aces into the final corner. Can he make this move stick? It's going to be wheel to wheel, and he's forced off the road a little bit, but it's nothing too bad, I don't think, although he's going to be back at the V-carb on the entrance to turn 1. He's round the outside again. He's going to have the better grip on those medium tyres. Aces tries to hold it on the inside. Sumo's just the passenger in front at the moment. Blobster's on the inside for turn 3 though, and should be able to make that move, and does. He's up to P7, and the top the Bassam and Extrek now right behind Enchilada already, and I think it's going to be those two battling for the win. Blobster on the inside of Sumo, he sends it into turn 5, and Sumo yields in the end. Aces and Scott wheel to wheel as well in the background for P8, but it's Aces who stays ahead for now. Blobster with the penalty in P6 though, so that is going to set him back later on in this race. Robsu as well, battling with Krauser and Denko on those fresh medium tyres. He looks to the inside, but he can't get the move done, and Enchilada loses the lead of the race to Bassem. Does he have the DRS? That's the question. No, he doesn't. It's the Alpine who gets it, and that is now surely Bassem's race to lose now.
Yeah, X-Track has either made a mistake or he just does not have the outright pace to keep up with Bassam at the moment. Bassam's really getting a hold of this race with both of his hands at the moment, and he's showing X-Track, you're not the only one around here who can win a race.
Indeed, he sets the fastest lap as well. Aces, Sumo and Scott still going wheel to wheel here. This is a great little battle. There's a lot of really nice little scraps between a few cars now going on up and down the grid. It's great to see. Sumo, Aces and Scott is one of them. Robsu, Krauser and Denko all together as well. And Anton's closing them down to try and join the party. But these three really going at it. Sumo in P7 at the moment. Jacko as well, getting his way past RJ. I don't know what's happened to Jacko actually. How is he all the way down in P15, Lawrence? Did you catch what happened to him?
No, I haven't, unfortunately. I've missed that one. Jacko's got a bit of a recovery drive to going on here, and he'll have to do some audacious moves like he did last week in Australia.
He will indeed, and Denko gets passed by, or what tries to get past Robsu, but Robsu defends diligently on those 7-lap-old hard tyres. He is doing a fantastic job trying to secure as many points as he possibly can. He knows he's going to lose quite a bunch to Enchilada, but is it going to be enough? I'm not sure. Denko looking to the inside, but doesn't quite send it this time. But he is going to have the DRS into the hairpin, and surely will get it done there. Extrek, meanwhile, getting past Enchilada for P2, and, well, that VSC giving them so much leverage, and Blobster's taken out JB into the hairpin. He's braked too late, and JB's half spun as a result. He's down to P6, and Blobster on the inside of Tier as well for the final corner.
Blobster.
Goodness gracious me, that was very unneeded, and he pulls out of the way of JB. sportingly, to be fair to him, but yeah, that was a little reckless, you have to say, as Extrac and Ench still side by side, and there's contact. Enchilada's sent round, but I think it was all his own doing. I think there was space left. Aces on the inside of Sumo as well. It's all going down, up and down the grid now. Sumo and Aces still side by side. Scott in the background looking for a way through as well. This is fantastic between these three. RJ retires from the session in the pit lane, but here comes Aces again on the inside of turn 5, and Sumo just has to yield in the end. It's a brilliant overtake from Aces. Robsu 8.5 seconds behind them, so he's not really in this battle. Bassem gets a time penalty as well, but he's already 3.3 ahead of Extrarek, so at the moment it wouldn't matter for him. But RJ becomes our second retirement. Sumo nearly bins it. Oh, but Aces does. Aces and Sumo both lose the rear at the same corner, but Sumo catches it and Aces doesn't, and he's all the way down to P9 now, and a long way behind. Robsu still keeping Denko behind somehow. I don't know how this Aston Martin is not able to get past this Williams, but Robsu just has so much straight line speed. There's just nothing that he can do. We're right on board with the Greek driver as they head towards the last couple of corners. Here he goes again with the DRS. He's using everything he's got in the battery. He knows Robsu's got the straight line speed to battle. Is Robsu going to send it to the inside of the hairpin? He looks for it, but he doesn't. He has to yield in the end, and finally Denko into the top 10. What a wonderful battle between those two.
Denko can go about his business and chase after races up the road.
Oh, but here comes Robsu again. Look at the straight line speed. It's unbelievable from the Finnish driver. But Denko's on the inside. Robsu can try and switch him back into turn 2, but Denko stays ahead. And now this is crucial. He has to get these next few corners in sector 2 absolutely spot on, because he needs to gap Robsu. Otherwise, he will blast back past him with those incredibly low wings he's got on that Williams. Denko is going to be after Aces as well. Robsu a little bit wide into turn 5. 7 tenths, 7.5 tenths, back down to 7 tenths. If Robsu's still in DRS, then Denko's in trouble. It's as simple as that. And Denko will probably know that in the cockpit. 8 tenths, 8.5, he's gaining, but he's very wide there on the left-hander, and Robsu gains some time back, but it's going to be very close. The detection point is just coming up, and the exit of this next corner is 1 second exactly, back down to 7 tenths though. Oh, 1.1, Robsu didn't get it, so Denko manages to gap the Williams, and that is crucial for him as Blobster goes down the inside of 2 cars into the hairpin and gets the move done. Tier onto the curb as he tries to battle with the Alpine, but there's nothing he can do, and JB tries to find his way through, but just about has to stay behind. There's fantastic stuff from all the way from first to last in this race.
It's been absolutely enthralling racing. So far, yes, this has probably been the best racing we've seen all season, just involving the whole field, really. Everyone's having a bit of something today.
Antone getting past Robsu as well for P11 in the Red Bull. As Robsu dropping another place to the medium tyre runners. He's going to try and get back at him into turn 3, but has to back out. And, well, Robsu, what a horrible race it's been. What a horrible finale to the, what a fantastic season for him that it has been. Aces now under pressure from Denko as he looks to get another place, but Sumo is going to be a step too far, I think, but he's around the outside of Aces. He's going to have to wait for the DRS though. I think that's probably the sensible call anyway. He's not got a lot of ERS in the tank though, and Aces does, so it's going to be tough for the Aston Martin driver to get through, and Aces slow through the double left-hander, and Denko just watching and waiting, biding his time. Antone in the background as well. He's nearly got a full battery of ERS, so actually the Red Bull driver is in the best position of the 3 at the moment, but through they go, down towards the hairpin for the 22nd time. Sumo and Scott swapping positions further ahead as well. Sumo back up to P7 as Denko on the inside of
Here
Aces
comes
versus
Antone.
Kings.
Wow.
Antone looking to the inside, makes it 3 wide. He blasts past both of them, does the Brazilian. Aces breaks as late as he dares, trying to go around the outside, but Denko comes back at him on the exit. Denko still ahead into the last corner, and it's a great overtake from Denko, but an even better overtake from Antone. And in fact, Denko's going to come back under pressure because Aces has the ERS to battle with him. He sends it to the inside of turn 1, and there's nothing that Denko can do. He burns so much ERS getting past Robsu that he's now got nothing left to stay with Antone and Aces.
Yeah, Denko just needs to switch his ERS off and just conserve it as best he can. He's fighting for a very handy P9 here to see out the season. Just looking further ahead, it's still a battle between Blobster, Tier and Joe. Blobster's tyres will be getting to the end of their sell-by date now. He will be starting to struggle in the next few laps, so keep an eye on that battle as well. He's also got the 3-second time penalty, but I'm quite sure Tier and Joe will would rightfully want to win those positions back.
Krause into the pits for fresh tyres in the meantime, unfortunately. He is down to P15, but he should be able to get Cavalis for 14th at least, and he will get a couple points on his last race for a while in APP, but Denko with a track limits penalty is really potentially going to cost him in this race. Blobster now trying to get past here for P4, but he can't quite do it. JB sitting there in P6 still. Sumo on the inside of Scott. He absolutely sends both of them flying off the track, and that is not the first time Sumo has misjudged a hairpin in this race. Denko and Robsu, Denko will be sick of the sight of this Williams getting back past him again, but Denko still leads him through the final corner at the meantime. Tier, and it's Blobster going wheel to wheel through turn 3. Blobster on the outside, he can't quite make the move. Robsu on Denko still wheel to wheel through turn 1 as well. Robsu just about staying ahead for now, but Denko's going to be back at him on the exit, is he? No, Robsu gets back in front, and Denko is going to be so frustrated in that cockpit.
Robsu's just like a cockroach, it just won't go away for Denko at the moment. I'm sorry to compare Robsu to a cockroach, but there's a bit of wheel banging here between Blobster and Tier, and Joe is looking to make full advantage of this.
Yeah, I was riding on board. Sorry, Lawrence, go ahead.
No, I was just the end of Blobster's tyre life.
Yeah, I was watching Blobster. He absolutely sent it to the inside of Tier at the first of the double left-handers, which was absolutely crazy, I'm not going to lie. But Tier... it pushed off the track as well on the exit there. Blobster let him back through, but he's got him again on the DRS straight. But Tier and JB now, I think the tyre crossover is starting to take place, and they're starting to have the better race pace than this Alpine. Tier on the inside into turn 1. He can't quite make the move stick, but Blobster's going to be in trouble here, and he's got the 3-second time penalty as well. So as it stands, he will drop behind both of them and finish P6. And Bassem is actually being reeled in by Extrac as well, who's looking to win his 8th race of the season, believe it or not. Denko ran the outside of Robsu. They're still battling, these two. This is absolutely brilliant. And Denko back ahead again, aces into the pit lane and gets himself a penalty and DNFs from the season finale with 3 laps to go. He is not a happy man, clearly. But it's good news for Cavalis because it puts him into the points. And he'll try and go for the fastest lap as well, I imagine, heading onto the soft tyres. At least get... No, he won't. He retires as well. So that is his race done too. Triku Badayak now promoted to 14th and Krauser to 13th. But we ride back on board with Blobster, who's all the way to the inside of the track. In fact, 2 wheels on the grass to try and block to try and break the slipstream to Tier. But here comes the Sauber driver back at him towards the hairpin. He can't make the move this time. But JB still in the background, trying to get past Tier. He knows that this is a battle for P4 really with Tier, because Blobster has his penalty. And we've just only got 3 laps to go in this Chinese Grand Prix. 3 3 laps to go of Tier 2 Season 13, and it's Tier on the inside of Blobster. He makes the move, but Blobster switches him back for turn 2, gets on the inside line. It's Tier still trying to hold it round, but he can't quite do it, and JB still lurking in the background. Scott and Sumo battling again, these two, and Scott is ahead into P7 in his Haas, and Sumo will surely be back at him with the DRS into the hairpin, but these two just constantly battling, as well as Denko and Robsu. Anton has actually been caught back up to by Denko and Robsu, and Sumo, with the time penalty, is going to swiftly end his battle with Scott and could start his battle with Anton, who doesn't have a penalty and is only 3.9 behind.
Yeah,
oh, never mind, Anton. Sorry, Lawrence. It gets too much of the curb there in Sector 2 and nearly bins it. Somehow manages to hold on to the car, but that is not going to help his bid for P8 in this race.
Yeah, sorry, I was just about to say Sumo locks his rears into turn 6 and just cut across the inside curb, and that was his 3-second time penalty.
Jacko has had a horrible last sort of 20 laps of this race, ever since he pitted, really. It's not gone well. Blobster and Tier swapping again in the meantime. Blobster back up to P4, but yeah, Jacko down in P12 and spun it as well, as we just saw on the broadcast. Tier's going to be back at the Alpine into turn 1, and he sends it to the inside and he makes the move. And Bassem, I think, has just realised what the gap was to Extrac and has put on the afterburners again. And is now 4.7 clear, so he should be able to win this race from here. Sumo and Scott again, wheel to wheel into turn 1 and 2, but Scott backs out this time, and Sumo's up to P7. But Sumo's going to have the advantage here. If they overtake each other with DRS on them back straight, if we assume that's just going to happen, then it's going to leave Sumo with the DRS on the final lap, and that is usually where you want to be in China.
Yeah, I think Scott's just toying with Sumo like a cat with a mouse. He knows he's going to have him at the end of the day. He's just going to race him. There's no one else to race with between these two. But they've been pretty close all season. Like, they've always been around each other. We saw back in Monza how close they were in the main race there, especially. But between Sumo and Scott, they both cost. Well, they was both the masters of their own downfall around there. They both cost each other the potential race win. So, yeah, they're having a little duel out for the finale.
Here comes Blobster again on the inside of Tier, and he makes that move with the DRS fairly comfortably. Tier's going to try and get back at him, though, into turn 1, like he has done so many times already in this race. Bassem goes on to the final lap as Anton gets his way past Denko, but Denko's trying to battle him back into the hairpin. He's got the inside line, and Denko is going to be in a strong position to try and gain that position on track, but with the penalty, he will drop to P11 anyway, it seems. And it's not been the race that Denko would have wanted with all his fans in the chat, unfortunately. Welcome, by the way, to the stream, all of you. I hope you've been enjoying it. Noticed a couple of you last week as well, so good to hear that you're enjoying the streams, and hope you've enjoyed today as well. As Blobster falls down to P5, tries to get through Tier, and maybe a bit of contact, maybe a mistake. That's certainly a mistake. JB backs out of going to the inside, and he has to yield in the end, but Blobster all over the road now. Those medium tyres not doing him any favours, and JB is possibly going to try and get him, but it's not going to matter. It's Tier is the driver he needs to get past, and well, as it stands, Lawrence, were he and Sumo 1 point apart going into this race?
Is that Sumo and JB, sorry?
Yeah.
I think it's 2 points in JB's favour, and JB will almost be saying he's finished ahead of Sumo.
And Bassem comes through the final corner to win the Chinese Grand Prix. Extrac's going to come home in second place. Enchilada will come home for a very respectable P3. Yet another podium for him this season. What a season he has had. And I think he snatched second place in the championship as well. Tier takes fourth place. JB in fifth. Blobster P6 in the end. I think he'll be disappointed. Scott comes home in P7 ahead of Sumo Gilligan. position as Anton comes to the line just ahead of Denko. He finishes 9th. Robsu gets Denko at the line thanks to the penalty, and he'll get into the top 10. Triku Badayak is going to finish P12 by the looks of it, unless Jacko can get him here in the last couple corners. He's on fresh soft tyres, so he's going to be a lot faster, but is he going to be faster enough to catch a second in 2 corners? I don't think so, but we'll see. Heading to the hairpin now, Jackalacco, he needs to get the most grip he possibly can, the most grip he's ever got out the hairpin, but it's not going to be enough. Triku holds him off. Is Jacko at least going to take the fastest lap home with him? He comes to the line. Is it going to be enough? No, it's not, actually. Who has the fastest lap? It's Bassem with a 33.1, which is over a second faster, so actually he was nowhere near. Krauser, I don't think he'll be near that either with a mistake like that at the final corner, but Krauser, what an APPF1 career he has had. Absolutely brilliant, long storied career, and we'll give him an interview for a proper send-off, but what a legacy he leaves behind in APPF1, and if he ever decides to return to racing with us, he will be welcomed back with open arms. But what a season, Lawrence, and a good race to finish it off.
Yeah, that was a superb race to finish the season on. Congratulations to the Alpine driver Bassem for the race win. It was a solid podium. Extrek in P2 and Enchilada P3. That's 2 of the usual suspects on the podium anyway. You just feel maybe a few races this season slips away from Enchilada, possibly to make it a little bit tighter.
Indeed. Well, it's Bassem who wins in China from Extrek in 2nd place. Then it's Enchiladad and Tia make up the top 4, with JB getting into the top 5 and beating Sumo in the standings, which was all that mattered, really, I think. Blobster finishes in 6th place on debut, with Scott and Sumo 7th and 8th after a long scrap between them. Anton and Robsu 9th and 10th. Denko in P11. I think he'll be disappointed with that one. Triku in 12th, and then Jacko and Krauser make up the rest of the finishers. Cavalis, RJ, Drogon and Aces all DNFing early on from the finale, and they'll be hoping to start off the next season very differently to how they've ended this one.
Sorry, I was just quickly reading in, and a few comments going around in the T2 chat.
All good. I will ping Krauser and Enchilada Dad to join us for interviews, because Blobster's on PC, as is Extrek, of course, as we know. Anyone else we can invite? Is Cavalis on PS? Oh, he already left the session, so he won't be joining us anyway. So I'm just going to ping them both, and hopefully they can join us.
Yes, looking forward to speaking to Krauser. Just give him a good send-off.
Absolutely.
But yes, that was a very enthralling Chinese Grand Prix. Hopefully it's to set the standards for the rest of the week for APP. Obviously Tier 1 coming up on Friday. A good shootout between Bold and Rick coming up. I don't believe you're there on Friday to witness it, Ghost. So I'm sure you'll be kept in the loop as to what happens there.
Indeed. I won't be there watching, sadly, on Friday, but I'll certainly watch after the fact. And good luck to the 2 title contenders, Rick and Bald. We do have Ench and Krauser joining us in the party, and Lawrence, you can start us off with an interview with Ench, who's on the podium once again this season. It's been a great season from him, and I'm just going to have a quick look at the standings just to confirm. He was 12 points behind Robsu, and P3 today is 14. Robsu will have secured 5. So actually, Robsu just about holds on to 2nd place in the championship, but you gave him a mighty good go in the second half of the season. Lawrence, please go ahead with our 3rd place finisher.
Yes, congratulations on P3 there, Ench. That was quite a solid race there. The virtual safety car probably being your downfall there. It gave Basim and X-Threat the undercut on you in the pits. Yeah, how was the race for you?
Yeah, I thought if the VSC didn't come out, it would have been a free win. But honestly, look, because they would have had behind it and other cars, but probably anyway, to be honest. But like, not much happened to me in second stint. I just pitted ahead of people, and yeah, and then when they reached me, they passed me pretty easily. So I just stayed in third basically. Not a lot happened. I'll take third.
Yeah, I think this is your is it your second or third season with APP now? So you finished runner up, I believe, last season, and P3 this season. So good, strong foundation.
Just don't check the season before that.
There's been some very solid results. I just touched upon at the end of the race there. Maybe a few races got away from you, whether it's just due to bad luck or anything else like that. So I'm sure you've got your sights firmly set on next season.
Yeah, I do. I need to get off to a better start because the last two seasons just had terrible starts and I'm good from there on. So if I'm up near the top of the start of the season, it'll be easier to stay there than be chasing all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Just start strong, and yeah, you've definitely finished the season strong. Anyway, you've been there or thereabouts, taking on X-Direct. So yeah, obviously X-Direct next season will have no race in line, so that should pull him closer to your into your proximity. So yes, I'd imagine it'll be a fair game next year. So good luck. And well done for this season. P3 is good. Rob Sue has just, as Ghost said, just pipped you by, I think it was 5 points. So it's good building blocks moving ahead, and yeah, well done on another solid season, mate.
Thanks, and thanks for the season and the commentary.
Yeah, I echo Lawrence there. Well done on a fantastic season. Ench, the first half didn't quite go to plan, but you've brought it back in the last sort of 6 races or so. So yeah, hope you can keep your form up into next year.
Yeah, that's the plan anyway.
All right, and we'll move on to a special interview today. To give him a proper send-off from a league with which he has had such an impact and such a legacy. Krauser, your last race for some time didn't quite go have a fairy tale ending, unfortunately, but still, I mean, I won't talk too much about today's race, although you had an incredible start. But I mean, APPF1. It's been such a pleasure having you in the league for such a long time. And how do you feel on your final race for quite a while?
Yeah, I mean, it's you give me a bit of a big build up there at the start, but I don't think this season's been a great one to end on. Really, that's kind of helped push me. I was thinking about it last season, and this season's just kind of rounded it off. But as a PPF1 community, the whole server, when we race, it's few and far between that you get people on there that aren't nice people to kind of chat with, to race against. It's just a nice environment to be part of it's a game, isn't it, at the end of the day? And I think sometimes everyone gets a bit hot-headed, but at the end of the day I think everyone calms down and realises, and then it gets on again. It's just, yeah, it's a great league to be part of. I think I've had some highlights down the years, because it has been years now. I think I've been in for 3 years, maybe 2.5, 2 years.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, the second ever Tier 2 season I started, and I've had a couple of teammates along the way, LB, JB, and then yeah, it's just been good. I can't. Yeah, it's difficult because I don't want to stop it. I do really enjoy it, but everyone has a life outside of it, and sometimes that has to take precedence, doesn't it? But I think you guys make the league what it is. Obviously, you and Sumo did this for a long time. Lawrence has taken up Sumo space while he's been racing, and it adds so much to the league for everyone. And it's just nice for people to be able to see the race back when there's been a few highlights. It's nice to be able to see it on stream. You know, if you can't make the race, you can still catch up with it and have a look at how people are getting on, how your teammates are getting on, and then everything you guys do with the graphics, with the league, with putting out stats and the history of the league and all this, that, and the other. It's just makes it such a good league to be part of. If anyone ever asked me about a league to join, I think I wouldn't even think, actually. I don't know why I said I think. I wouldn't think twice. I'd just be like, yeah, this league, you need to go part of it. It's brilliant.
Oh, thank you so much for the kind words. And yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, it hasn't been the season to cap off that you would have wanted, but I mean, even so, I think whenever I think of of your legacy in Tier 2, it's going to be that Season 8 finale in Austria, where you gave it absolutely everything. For those who hadn't seen that race, go watch it. It's on my channel somewhere. Season 8 Tier 2 finale in Austria. Four-way battle for the title, and Krauser was part of it. He finished second in the standings in the end. But goodness me, he gave it a go. It came from the back of the grid after disconnecting, wasn't it, in qualifying, or not even getting into the lobby until right at the end?
I can't remember. Yeah, there was some problem.
Yeah,
Probably just my qualifying pace. That's let me down a lot. But yeah, it was a fantastic race. I did love that race.
I mean, to see you getting up to 5th place. I think it was for a 16-car grid or something like that, and you were 5th within like 5 laps, and we all thought, okay, game on. Yeah, that race still lives long in the memory, and it's a large part of that is because of that fight back from you. But yeah, you've been right up there in title fights plenty of times. You got 3 Constructors' Championships to your name as well, 3 race wins, 14 podiums, 1 race win in Monaco as well, which I don't think you'll ever forget either.
Yeah, that was my highlight. That's definitely up there, just with the best kind of performance I feel like I've put in, just kind of consistency lap on lap. And yeah, there's been a couple of really good races, and even today for a big stint. I don't know, I didn't have the stream on, but me and Robsu were going kind of neck and neck for a few laps, and then just a racing incident happened and ended the fun a little bit. But there's always, every single race, there's always good things, and that's the thing about this league. There's maybe not everyone can be at the top of the grid. That's never going to happen, but all the way through, there's kind of like little groups. It's almost like touring cars, I guess, or Le Mans series, where you've got kind of the LMP1, LMP2, and then you've got the GT cars behind. But it's all obviously the same cars. We just have little pockets of racing. It's just so enjoyable to do week in, week out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's nothing quite like Tier 2 for the quality of entertainment up and down the grid. You don't really get it anywhere else, in my humble opinion, completely unbiased opinion. But yeah, I mean, if you ever get freed up once again, and you're able to come back and race, you'll be welcomed back straight away with open arms. So
thanks very much.
You leave a legacy of 101 races in APP. Last week was your 100th race in the league. So it's really nice that you've reached that milestone. Actually, I think it's even more than that, because these stat cards were from 2 seasons ago. So actually, it was quite a while ago, the 100th race. So, but still, I'm glad you reached the 100 races before you've had to step back. But from me, and I'm sure all of us at APP, wish you all the very best with you and your family. And yeah, thank you so much for being here.
No, yeah, thank you guys. I'm how thankful. I think not just me, but all the people within the server are of all the work you guys put in to make the league what it is. So thanks again. And anytime I can jump on, I'll happily jump on. And maybe if you want a guest at some time for the podcast, just give me a shout and I'll see if I can jump on that.
Oh, we've got to do that at some point. Absolutely. But yeah, thanks so much once again, and wish you all the very best. Lawrence, do you have any words, any questions for our parting Krauser?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, if you ever feel like coming back as Ghost, we're welcome. Even if we got a full grid of 20, we'll kick someone's shit out like Sumo. Give you his car.
Yeah.
So
if I have time, I'll definitely come back. But
no,
yeah, thanks again.
No, that's right. I touched upon in the race. Obviously, I've sat with you in parties before when I used to sit in a party with Joe and Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, just all round great guy to talk to, and have a good laugh. And yeah, you've spoken highly about the league as well, but we can't speak highly enough of you as well. Just a great person to be around in a party or race with as well on track. Just clean and fair. You are a huge loss to Tier 2. It might not have gone to plan as you said, but yeah, it's it will definitely you'll definitely leave a huge gap in the league.
Cheers, man. Thanks very much. Yeah, just like I say, I think when you're around a good bunch of lads, it reflects on them, doesn't it? So the fact that you've said the nice things there, that I think it just reflects on you guys. All the different parties I've been in with yourself and others, everyone's just so kind and great to be talking to, great to be in a group with. So thanks to you, thanks to Ghost, thanks to everyone again. Yeah, it's been brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. I think lastly, I'll just end on yeah, you're my vote for the driver of the day anyway. I think,
yeah, without a doubt, Krauser driver of the day.
There we go.
Well, thanks. I'll try and veto it, but I'll see what.
Nah, no veto. You're getting it whether you like it or not.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Krauser. Thank you so much.
Cheers, guys.
Wow, what a season, Lawrence. What a way to end off on. How was your first season in the commentary box? Because it's been, not the most exciting championship for you to be part of for your first time in the commentary box, but have you at least enjoyed the great races that we've had from a different perspective than normal?
Yeah, it's been a good experience. I've always sat and watched streams thinking like I can watch streams and watch the races and be like, oh yeah, this is happening, that's happening. But when you're actually having to sit here, I can't stress enough how much of a good job you do as well. You notice all the small bits that I don't. You're constantly on top of any battles that are going on up and down the track or the order. Yeah, it's been a good learning curve. Hopefully you've enjoyed having my waffling going on for most of the season. I've tried my best to try and be just have something genuine, a genuine input into each race rather than just sitting there saying the same old lines over and over again. So yeah, it's been a very good experience. We'll see how the winter goes. Obviously, everyone's waiting to see if my wheel and pedal are arriving. I've got the wheel and pedals. Obviously, it's my new rig, which is should be arriving soon. So once I get that set up and we'll see how we go. If I think I'm going to have a good race pace or be comfortable, then yeah, I'll race in tier 2. But if I'm going to be somewhere off or need a bit of work, I'll be happy to jump in the comms box to help you if needed.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. A good, very best of luck with your new wheel. It remains to be seen whether you're going to be going down the route that I did, where I got used to it fairly quickly and was back up to pace within a few months, or the sumo route where you're kind of never back up to full pace.
Yeah, we don't want to go down that route.
But yeah, all the best of luck, and it'll be great to have you back on the grid. Always welcome a 2-time tier 2 champion back on the grid with everyone else. So best of luck for that, and thank you for joining me for this season in the box.
No, it's been a great pleasure. Thank you for having me, and onwards and upwards.
Indeed. So thank you to all of our drivers this season for making every race an exciting one up and down the grid. And thank you all in the chat, and to all our viewers as well over the course of the whole season. Anyone who's watched a race this season, thank you for being here. Make sure to like and subscribe as well if you haven't already. To the channel. We now go on a season break in tier 2, and we will be back in the new year for season number 14 of the division. So thank you all ever so much, and we'll see you all next time for more APPF1. Have a lovely rest of your December, and happy holidays to all. Merry Christmas if you celebrate as well. So thank you all ever so much, and we'll see you all in 2025. Goodbye.